Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to another week. We're in week 7. 7, guys. Can you believe it's been 7 weeks? It's almost 2 months. That's nuts. But here we are. October is over. We made it through Halloween, and now we're on to November as we rush toward the end of the quarter because November has some holidays in it. You might know. Thanksgiving. Veterans Day, all that good stuff. So we've got a couple days off this month, and there's not much of December in our class. So if you just take a look, here's November, and there's December. We've got like 1 week in December. So at this right after midterms point, when sometimes our energy lags just a little bit, hang in there. It feels like this is a long quarter, perhaps, but we are actually moving toward the end with quite a bit of speed. So we're getting closer and closer each time. So hang in there. I know these mid-quarter doldrums can kind of set you back a little bit. But I want to encourage you, hang in there. It'll get better. And if it's not getting better, eat a little Halloween candy, get a sugar rush, and then do the homework, which is also fun. So this week, we are working on getting our Project 2 essay ready for peer review. We're going to do a couple peer reviews on this. So I want to encourage you to continue drafting, continue writing, continue researching, because our first peer review, and I'm actually going to move this. So exciting, get an extra day. Our first peer review is going to be on Thursday. So we are going to look at logical fallacies today. There is a recorded lecture in the modules tab about logical fallacies. This is a really great thing to pull in as you're talking about your Project 2 topic, because Project 2 is all about trial by media, how perhaps a jury could be biased by the way people are talking about a case. And so if we want to have really specific ways to look at the words people are using when they describe a case and point out different ways that bias could happen based on those word choices, logical fallacies is a great place to start. In fact, when you watch the lecture on how to write the essay, we talk about some of the different ways the essay could be organized. And one way that I recommend organizing the essay is looking at potential sources of bias in 3 different ways. The first of which is word choice bias, like what words are people choosing to describe the case. If they're calling someone a sadistic hellspawn, that's going to make us feel differently about that person than if they said misunderstood, slightly violent person. You know, like, those are very different words. We choose those words intentionally to make people think differently about what we're discussing. So word choice bias is a great way to structure one of your argument paragraphs. Another way is information bias. We talk about this in some of our recorded lectures from last week. Information bias is when people are provided with allegations or hearsay or potential information that doesn't actually have any relevance to the case itself. So if the case is like an arson investigation and the newspaper headlines or on social media, we find out that this guy also enjoys kicking puppies, we're like, oh, I don't like that. This guy likes kicking puppies. It has nothing to do with the arson trial whatsoever, right? But we're now biased. We don't like this person on a personal level because we found out something about them that wouldn't be admitted in a court of law. Does that make sense? So that's information bias. When we're given information that wouldn't be admitted in court, that can then sway our understanding or our perceptions about the person and their case. And then the third way you can talk about trial by media is this logical fallacies. So you would look at the way newspapers or social media is talking about a case, and you would try and find ways where their logic is broken. That's what a logical fallacy is. It's broken logic. And so we've got a great, pretty short recorded lecture on the different types of logical fallacies that you'll probably see and different ways that you can discuss them in your essay. So that recorded lecture will really help you with this logical fallacies portion of your writing process. So please check that out. I'll show you where it is in the modules in just a second. Then we're going to work on writing our essay all this week. We're going to have our first peer review on Thursday. And then you're going to work on revising, making the essay better for one more round of peer review before you turn in that final draft on Wednesday. We talked about how this essay, Project 2, is much faster than Project 1, as a little bit more of a realistic look at the writing process. Project 1, we got to stretch it out. We got to talk about our ideas a lot and delve real deeply into the writing process. Project 2 is a little more reflective of how you're going to be asked to write in other classes and potentially in the workforce as well after you get out of college. So I want to give you a lot of skills to be able to take that time and really deal with ideas, but also to be able to do it in a little bit of a faster way as well. So we're getting both perspectives as we compare Project 1 and Project 2. So that's where we're going this week. If you're struggling with finding research, my very best advice would be to reach out to the CBC librarians. They are amazing, like seriously amazing. They know everything. They had to get a master's degree in library science in order to get their job. A master's degree in library stuff. Like, that's pretty incredible. So they will be able to find stuff on any topic. So what might take you or I a couple hours to look up in the databases, it might just take them 5 minutes. So it's really cost and time effective to reach out to the librarian. So if you're struggling finding sources for this essay, please reach out to the CBC librarians. You can email them. They have a live chat service. That's really cool. There are a couple different ways we can get there. The first of which is just to look at the CBC library. So you go to our CBC website and type library into the search bar, or just type it into Google. Here's the library website. And then you click Get Help. So you can get help finding stuff, which is nice. And there's a couple ways to do that. This is probably the most convenient, is you can chat with a librarian, live chat, really, really handy. You can chat with CBC librarians during these specific hours, or you can chat with a very knowledgeable librarian who's not working at CBC 24/7. You can also email them, or you can leave them a voice message and they'll give you a call back. Or you can submit a request for an online meeting, meet with them on Zoom, and they can walk you through the process of finding your sources. So lots of really great uses of our time if we're working with librarians here. So please consider checking that out if you're having a hard time finding your sources. And then if we go into our class, we'll pop into the modules tab and go down into Project 2. We've got everything we need here. Here's the Logical Fallacies PowerPoint. Do check that out. I think you'll find it really helpful. Also, if you're trying to find sources, Trial by Media Can Undermine the Courtroom. Really great one for this essay in terms of generalized knowledge. You wrote a discussion board using it, so you could consider using it in some of the same ways you used the Leon Seltzer article in Project 1. And then here's some alternative ideas if you want some opposing sources. This one says Trial by Media and a Betrayal of the First Amendment. This one talks about how pre-trial publicity really doesn't affect the Sixth Amendment and how people are still getting a fair trial despite social media. So that's another interesting source as well. So you can kind of see both perspectives as you come up with your own argument and your own ideas. If you didn't watch this last week, do please watch the research outline and thesis worksheet. This is going to be instrumental in being successful in Project 2. The other probably most helpful thing in here is the sample essay. So take some time, click through those, see how different people organize their ideas. You might find it as a nice jumping off point. The other thing I want to call your attention to, we've got some grammar resources for you, which you might find helpful, as well as MLA sources. And then here is the library links. So there's a Prezi by the magnificent librarian Molly Mooney. When I grow up, I want to be as cool as Molly. Like, she's amazing. She has rainbow hair and she has cat-themed dresses, and someday I will be that cool. Maybe, if the stars align. Molly is the greatest. So if you want some insight into how to use specifically the library databases, being instructed by a librarian, this Prezi is awesome. And you can also chat with the CBC librarians. This is a quick link for what I showed you just a few minutes ago. So lots of helpful things in here. So please take advantage of those. You can also always go to the CBC e-tutoring or the online CBC Writing Center. Really great resources. Also a source of extra credit. If you take your essay to one of these guys and then send me your feedback, I'll get you extra credit points. So not only is your essay better, which will earn you a better score, but you get extra credit points, which also earns you a better score. So it's like a win-win sort of thing. Awesome. All right, I've been long-winded enough. It's 10 minutes. I promise I will stop now. Last week, though, I said that I would give you some extra credit for watching this video. So if you are one of the few intrepid, brave, wonderful individuals who are actually watching the weekly announcements, there's about 2 or 3 of you. So thank you for being here. You guys rock. You're amazing. Send me an email telling me about your favorite Halloween costume ever. Like either you created it, or someone you know created it, or you just found it online. Tell me about it. Attach a picture if you can, because that sounds like fun. And I'll get you extra credit. My kids are 2 and 4, and the 4-year-old dressed up as Cinderella, and the little 2-year-old dressed up as Gus Gus the mouse from Cinderella. And it was freaking adorable. So I would love to hear about your guys' costumes as well. Have a great week. I'm excited to see how Project 2 comes together for you guys. And let me know if you have any questions.